Hey guys, it's Dan with the Corporate Thief Beats. You're watching another video showing you how to promote your music on Twitter. And today's video is going to be about finding targeted followers on Twitter and why you need to target the right audience. Another great way to build a targeted hip-hop following on Twitter is to actually use the resources that you have in the first place. So if you've got a website, hey, all these people coming to your site are focused on you. They're not focused on any other kind of rapper or any other mixtape that's out. And that's why I tell people to have a website in the first place, is because sometimes they're on DatPiff or SoundCloud or whatever, and they're just distracted. People are by all the kind of shiny mixtape covers and stuff on the background. So if people have a website, if an artist has a website and you send all traffic to your website, having a Twitter button on your website is a great way to start, and you're more than likely going to get people to follow you. Another great way is to use kind of pay as you tweet or pay with a tweet buttons, or the one I use is called Social Locker. I did a video on that before. I'll put a link in the description. But social lockers, where if you put up a paywall where someone has to follow you on Twitter before they can download your new song or something like that, or your mixtape or something like that, or an interview. Put something behind a paywall, a social paywall. And I do this a lot of the time where I'll kind of, if I make a new beat, I might give the demo download away for free, and I'll put it behind a social locker, stuff like that. And people have to follow me in order to get that demo download. And that's a great way, because they're coming to my site and they're actually targeted because they came to my site and they were actually interested in my stuff in the first place. So it's just kind of an incentive for them to take action more than anything. And a thing I also do as well is sometimes, instead of actually using my comments box at the bottom of my blog, I might actually just put a mentions box. Twitter gives you these tools where you can go and just grab a bit of code and pop it into your website, and it's like a Twitter chat box in there, so you can, if you're sending all people to your website, you can still keep the Twitter conversation going. And plus, it makes it look like your music is really popular. So if you had like your DatPiff player or your SoundCloud player, and then you had a Twitter chat box underneath, it kind of looks like you're building a bit of buzz with your fans, and it's a very good way of keeping people focused on you. And then you could probably put a follow button above you as well, so you've properly set that system up where people can actually engage with you and follow you at the same time. Just before I end on that point as well, use like your other social media channels as well. If you're creating vlogs of you in the studio, or if you're creating like kind of any videos about your music and how you created the song and etc., put your tagline at Corporate Thief, and it just makes it much easier when you're in a video to give a person a call to action. So when people are watching something and the video is engaging, and if you say, oh, subscribe here or follow me on Twitter, more than likely, if you ask for something more, you will get it. Like, you will get that person to follow you. So that's a good way anytime you create videos, is to tell them to subscribe or to follow you on Twitter. And just before I leave on that point as well, is to use like your kind of email list as well. I can kind of talk about that a bit more in a second, but to put some social buttons at the bottom of your email list. So anytime you kind of send out some new music, or if you send out some interviews or stuff like that, or you're trying to sell merch, try and include your social networks at the bottom of your email list. That's a really clever idea as well. And maybe sometimes I notice that a lot of people aren't taking advantage of Twitter ads. And I know people, when you kind of talk to them about spending money, they kind of get angry and they don't want to spend money, and they kind of want to do the growth hacking stuff. And there's nothing wrong with doing it, building it naturally, but I do believe it's just a bit slower. Like any kind of ads now that I've paid for now have boosted my following a much faster rate. It does cost a lot more money, but there is certain ways that you can save a lot more money if you kind of do your bit of homework on it. And I'll probably do a better course on Twitter ads later on, but not at the moment. I just think it's a bit advanced, but there is kind of some little tricks that you can do to kind of keep the cost of ads down. And one of them is targeting your email list. So if you've got an email list of let's say 3,000 subscribers to your blog, upload that email list to Twitter, and then you can target all those people. So it's a very focused, targeted group there on Twitter from the people that have subscribed to your blog. So that's a very good way to start. Plus, Twitter and Facebook are great at letting you create similar fans based on that email list. So they will take that email list, find all the personas or the kind of similar kind of people to those on that, and they will create a different audience based on the kind of personas or the similar kind of content that those people like and share on Twitter. And then you can target those people, and then you can create other lists around that as well. Another way to do is that I found kind of effective is retargeting. This is where Twitter gives you, if you go to Twitter ads, they give you a little bit of code. It's a small bit of code, and you just pop it into the section of your website, preferably the footer or the head section of your website. If you don't know how to do that, get someone on Fiverr to do it for you. It's very easy. It's very copy and paste kind of stuff. You just take that code, copy and paste it onto that section of your website. And what it will do is this will put a cookie on anyone that comes to your website, and it will follow them all around the net. So if you create ads then or anytime they're on Twitter again, your Twitter ads will be targeted to them all the time. So if they keep moving to different pages on Twitter or different content streams on Twitter, the ad will still continue to target them. But you can limit the frequency of how many times that person has seen that ad. So you're not wasting money on someone that's not interested in connecting with you as well. So there's kind of clever ways about doing it, but the cost per click or cost per follow is much cheaper for retargeting and your email list because they're hyper targeted kind of fans. The kind of more costly ways of doing it on Twitter, I found that the keyword kind of way was very expensive, much more expensive than Facebook or Google. I didn't really like that actually, and you can get targeted followers of followers. So if you find an influencer, if there's a blogger, let's say one of the guys on Two Dope Boys or any kind of influencers online, or any kind of hip hop kind of guys that have a big following, and you think that audience will match up with the personas of the people that you want to follow you, you can create ads based on those. So just put in the usernames of all the followers that they have. So, or not they have, I mean the actual person who has a lot of followers. So let's say J. Cole has a lot of followers. You put in J. Cole's handle, Twitter handle into it. You put in Kid Cudi's handle into it and Logic's handle. So you've got all those rappers, and then it will target all their followers with ads. So Twitter ads will pop up everywhere on Twitter, targeting just those followers. It's kind of a good way to target people. It might be very targeted to the people that you want to follow, but it is much more expensive, and it's very hard to kind of keep the cost low on it. The only way you can keep the cost low is to kind of select which countries you want. So if you want local, you might get it a bit cheaper, but if a lot of the United States kind of very expensive, UK, they're kind of expensive kind of followers. So because certain kind of areas of the world, and I'm not going to mention them, are kind of prolific with spam and kind of low quality followers. So it's very hard to kind of be careful where you want to target in the world, and don't leave it too open. Maybe if you're paying for people in USA or in UK, they might be a bit more kind of engaging, depending on your language as well. make sure that, and the time that you kind of tweet at, and the time zone that they live in as well. So you kind of have to kind of really be careful with the Twitter ads kind of thing. It is a really good way of promoting your site. It's a very, I think it's a very, it isn't organic, but I think it's a very natural way of promoting your stuff. And but if you bar the targeting, the email list, or bar the retargeting kind of pixel, it is a lot more expensive. So if you haven't got the budget for it, be careful on what you spend, and kind of set up small campaigns. Twitter is actually pretty cool with that. They'll let you set up $5 and $10 campaigns, and if test everything, test the type of followers you got in the first place from targeting certain followers belong to similar profiles that are interested in the same music that you have. So guys, that was all the tips for finding followers on Twitter. Don't forget to check out the Twitter course. There should be a link here after the video. This course is where I show you how to find a following, build a following, nurture a following, set up automation systems on Twitter so you don't have to do boring tasks on Twitter anymore. So guys, that course is really good. A lot of great info in there. There's 10 videos in there. It's not too long, and I show you tools on how to kind of speed up the process of building your Twitter following as well. Don't forget, there's 2 bonuses at the end of that course, and it's a pay as you want. Just support the site, guys. That's all I ask you guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This is Dan with the Corporate DP, so I hope you've enjoyed that videos. Check you out in the next one, guys. Take care.